What is it like running for vice president of the United States? How crazy is this experience?
It's pretty weird. I was just telling you this earlier, but the first time that I've been in a public spot without Secret Service in the room is right now. So I'm like looking around for these guys because I'm used to just having them. It's 3 months, right? So he asked me the Monday of the RNC convention, which I think was June 15th. And I really didn't know that morning. I thought that he was probably going to pick me, but I didn't know for sure. Probably 60-40, basically. And so I had no idea. I get the call around 1 o'clock at Milwaukee time at the RNC convention. I'm hanging out with my kid. Another one of my kids is in the other room asleep because, our kids are young, so they nap still. And he makes this call, and he's like, hey, do you want to be my vice president? I was like, oh.
Was it literally just like that?
Well, actually, what happened is I get a text message from a staff member on his team that says you just missed a very important phone call. And I don't know, because there's so much inbound traffic that I think it just went straight to voicemail. So I call him back and I'm like, hey, sir, what's going on? He said, JD, you just missed a very important phone call. I'm going to have to pick somebody else now. So I'm about to shit a brick here. And then he says, no, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I want you to be my vice president. And the funny thing is, my 7-year-old is in the background and he has no idea what's going on. And I love that, right? It's one of the good things about this. He has no clue what's going on. He's like, Dad, who are you talking to? He's talking about Pokemon cards, right? And Trump hears my son in the background and he says, well, who's that? And I said, that's my 7-year-old son, you. And he's like, put him on the phone. And I'm just anxious for him to get this statement out because in my mind, It's not final until the statement is actually out. And he talks to my son and he reads the statement that he is going to put out on Truth Social announcing that I'm the VP nominee of the Republican Party. And he's like, what do you think about that, Ewan? And my son Ewan's like, oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then he gives the phone back to me. He's like, I have no idea what the hell's going on.
He doesn't even know what that means.
Yeah, he has no idea. And of course, I remember this story because in particular, and the Madison Square Garden rally of a few days ago was the first time that my son actually met Donald Trump. So he'd spoken to him on the phone, but hadn't actually met him until the rally at MSG. And my 7-year-old really wanted to tell him a joke, and he remembers this phone conversation. And so he tells him this joke, and Trump kind of chuckles, but also is probably judging me because it was a somewhat inappropriate joke for a 7-year-old to tell. But here we are.
Well, that's the only ones 7-year-olds remember.
That's right. Well, it's like, I have terrible language. I mean, it's one of my many flaws, but I was raised by my very working class grandmother, and she was actually interestingly, she was a very devout Christian, but she also had, a language that would make a sailor blush. And so I talk like that because I was raised by this woman.
Those are fun ladies.
Those are fun ladies, man. She was she was awesome. She was an amazing person, a huge personality, right? We called her a force of nature because she was such this big personality. But my wife's rule is, basically he's only allowed to cuss when he's telling this one joke. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so he told this joke to Donald Trump. Yeah, exactly. He says it 14 times a day.
Yeah, early on, I told my kids, you can swear in front of us. I go, but don't swear in front of other parents.
Right.
And don't swear for no reason.
Right. Well, because they judge you, right? The other parents judge you. How old are your kids?
Well, the youngest ones are 14 and 16, and I have a 28-year-old. Okay. But when my 14-year-old was 2, we were on a skiing trip, and we were about to leave. We packed up all our stuff. But her helmet, we forgot to put her helmet away. I go, we forgot to put the helmet away. And she just looks down at the helmet and she goes, shit. And my wife is just like, oh my God. Right. It was so funny. There's just something adorable about a 2-year-old that doesn't know that you're not supposed to say shit.
No,
and just
absolutely,
have that cute little face.
Well, I mean, my 4-year-old, he was 3 at the time. We were going, because, we live in Cincinnati, but then I'm a senator, so we spent a lot of time in Washington, and I was taking my 4-year-old solo, he was 3 at the time, on this trip, and we're on a Delta flight. We're in the back. I'm kind of wondering, because, I've got bedhead, and I'm thinking to myself, do any of these people know that I'm a senator? Because I look like shit right now. And I sort of get away with it. I don't think that anybody notices who I am. And we're sitting there, and my son drops one of those Biscoff cookies in between the seat, and he looks at me and he says, Dad, well, fuck. And like 12 people instantly turn around and look at me. And it's like, oh, Senator Vance, your son has such colorful language. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a terrible father. And these people are all judging me.
Yeah.
But it's, but you're right. It's so cute.
It's adorable.
It's so funny. But yeah, I got to do a little bit better about that because they're going to start judging me.
People need to relax.
They
little
do.
bad words
really
every now and then. It's good for you. I think it's good for you. I think it gets a little steam out.
I agree. It's good.
Was there any part of you that was like, do I really want this job? Because it comes with so much. It comes with not having the Secret Service in the room. It comes with this enormous change of your life, this insane responsibility. Everybody's watched presidents, especially, age radically, dramatically.
Yeah,
and everyone but Trump. Trump
That's right.
just
it's kind of amazing, yeah.
The dude just didn't age. It's so strange. It's like it barely affected him. Everybody else is like they're getting radiation sickness. And he gets out of there, he looks exactly the same. I can't wait to do it again. Let's go. We got to win big. Just like... When you feel good, everything else is easier. AG1 covers your bases with nutrients that are hard to get in the modern diet to build a foundation for whole body health. It's super simple. Just mix it up and drink it when you wake up. And there's a reason why I've talked about AG1 for so long. The product is tested for hundreds of contaminants and impurities. This includes 500 herbicides and pesticides and 75 additional toxins. So they make sure that you just get what's going to help you feel healthy. The team at AG1 is dedicated to making their product better over time, constantly reworking the formula and researching new ways to address your foundational nutrition. If you're feeling tired or like you need a routine to bring a healthy habit into your day, try AG1. It takes just 5 minutes every day. And right now, AG1 is offering a surprise bonus limited edition gift in addition to the welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 when you first subscribe. It won't last long, so head to drinkag1.com/Joe Rogan to check it out while supplies last. That's drinkag1.com/Joe Rogan. This episode of the Joe Rogan Experience is brought to you by Call of Duty. You know, when a new Call of Duty drops, everyone's trying to find a way to squeeze in those extra hours of gameplay. I get it. Life is busy, but sometimes you just...
Hey, Joe, it's the replacer. Yeah, no, you. Hey, I'm going to take it from here so you can enjoy some Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Great. Now listen up, folks. Life can be chaotic, but you shouldn't have to miss out on the latest Call of Duty just because you've got, responsibilities. That's where I come in. I will handle the boring stuff like work, chores, even podcast ads. So you can dive right into the fight. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is out October 25th. So dive in because I've got your back. Remember, I replace, you play. It's that simple.
Man, the replacer always gets it done. Seriously, though, if you're hooked on Call of Duty, this is your time to jump in. Head over to callofduty.com/Black Ops 6 to get in the game. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, available now.
It really is amazing. I mean, one of the first times that I sort of spent like a large amount of time with Trump was in 2021, and I was thinking about running for the Senate, so I was down to Mar-a-Lago talking to him, and my initial reaction on seeing him was like, oh my God, you look really good. Like, you actually look healthier now than you did 6 years ago. Normally, presidents age very, very badly. I mean, look, I definitely thought, okay, obviously this is a big thing, right? And talked about it with my wife a lot because she was a working corporate litigator. She's got a very big career. She's much smarter than I am. And it was a marital conversation, in some ways a tough one because, even though, I'm a senator, we're still pretty anonymous, right? Like we can go on vacation, or we were till this happened. We go on vacation. Yeah, you'd have people stop and ask to take a photo or say something nice. But most people, if you went somewhere, didn't know who you were. Right now, it's literally impossible for us to go anywhere.
What's that shift feel like? Like you're 40 years old, right? So
yeah, I mean,
like this just off a cliff, complete different life.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, it's been. I mean, look, in some ways, it's really nice because people come up and say really nice things to you. They tell you they're praying for your kids, they're praying for your family.
But it's also very weird, though, doesn't it? Like if you go through Brooklyn,
sure, yeah, no, of course, yeah.
Go through the super woke, blue-haired parts of Brooklyn.
You know, it's interesting. When we were in New York for the MSG rally, a few people saw me and flashed the universal New York sign for "We're number one," right? So they like us even in New York City. Yeah. But it's definitely weird to just not be anonymous at all anymore, right?
Yeah.
And that's taken some getting used to. I think part of it is also. Let me just give you an example. So Sunday morning, we want to go for this is the event in Madison Square Garden. We had the morning where I didn't really have anything going on. I had a couple phone calls. So we want to go for a walk with the kids in Central Park. And normally you would walk out of your hotel and walk into Central Park and hang out with your family. Now it requires, we have to notify Secret Service. And so then they have to scope out an area where they can make sure that it's going to be properly safe. And so instead of walking out our hotel room and taking a walk in Central Park, we hop in a car and show up in some random part of Central Park that's 20 blocks away. And then, of course, as soon as we get out, everybody's like, well, who the hell is this? Because there are 14-car motorcade there. So the lack of anonymity is definitely an annoyance that comes along with it. But I'm the kind of person where you just take the good with the bad. There are a lot of benefits to it. There are some downsides to it. It's what I asked for. I try not to think too much about it or complain too much about it. I just try to accept it. I think obviously if we win, which 6 days from now, I think we are going to win, I think we'll have to sort of get into more of a routine with it. My attitude thus far has been, well, it's only for a few months, so you can do anything for a few months.
Is the adjustment, is it difficult? Was it pretty easy? Did you just accept it? Like this is how life is now?
Well, you have to accept it, but it's not easy, right? I mean, in particular for our kids, right? Like, okay, I really like to drive, and 99% of the time if we're in the car as a family, I'm driving, my wife's in the passenger seat just because I like to drive. And I think for our kids, getting used to, we're not going into our car, we're going into this black SUV, and Daddy's not driving.
Right, there's some other person there that don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, like one of the first things that happened, we're back at our house in Cincinnati the weekend after the RNC convention, and we're sitting there watching like some stupid show, Emily in Paris on Netflix or something, which, sorry, I don't mean to call that a stupid show. I actually think Emily in Paris is a masterpiece, but set that to the side. Bracket that one for now. But we're watching some show on Netflix, and, you see one guy walk past your window, and then you see another guy walk past your window, and it's just a Secret Service agent patrolling, just little things like that. So, you recognize that your zone of privacy is very narrow, and that takes some adjusting and getting used to. And, there are all of these small little adjustments, but it by and large, honestly, like I love our Secret Service detail. Our kids are really into them. They sort of see them as their police protectors. Our 7-year-old, it's funny, he's in second grade, and one of his buddies, their parents came to us and said, "Do you know that the kids are playing this game in school called Boss Man, where basically one second grader will walk down the hallway or down the playground flanked by two separate second graders."
Like they're playing Secret Service now?
They're playing Secret Service now in their school.
Bizarre.
So, like, on the one hand, that's really bizarre, and I hope that it doesn't permanently screw up the psychological development of my kid. On the other hand, it's kind of funny, and you just go with the flow, and you try to work with it.
Yeah. I guess they're just making fun with it.
Yeah.